that whole connection here, other than on this date, I think it was in 1963, that Martin Luther King had made his famous speech, I have a dream, and this and that and the other. And it was done at the site of Lincoln's Memorial, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. Get ready, folks, because here's the real interesting part of all this. This particular date, you know, there's always a question in my mind about, you know, is this stuff real? You know, this whole thing about, you know, the Babel conspiracy and these numerics and everything like that. I will tell you that I do know that occultists count like this, and they pick certain days and certain ideas for rituals, for ceremonies, for things that they do, because they believe that that invokes the power of the gods that they're trying to summon. So here we have, and I will, you know, Masons don't do anything without it having some sort of symbolic idea. Masons, the New Agers, the occult movement, the secret society, I mean, all of these groups working together. By the way, if you don't know this, Joseph Smith and all the elders of the Mormon Church were Masons. Okay, Nauvoo, Illinois, go check it out. They were all Masons. A lot of stuff goes on in the Mormon temple, Masonic rituals. Okay, I mean, that's what it is. So let's look at this date. Martin Luther King, 1963, August the 28th. Here it is, 8/28/10. Well, let's change those little dashes to plus signs. 8 plus 28 plus 10 is 46. That's the number of chromosomes in your cells where your deoxyribonucleic acid is stored. You know, the stuff that makes you human. The number 46 is a very powerful number in the occult. And I'm going to show you several things just so you get the concept of this. This number 46, this date, 8/28/10, makes the number 46. Now, in Solomon's temple, you have two pillars. Now remember, Paul said, "What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost?" That just happens to be in the 46th book of the Bible, okay? 1 Corinthians. So in Solomon's temple that he built these two pillars, Jachin and Boaz. And Jachin was 23 cubits tall, and Boaz was 23 cubits tall. That's 46. By the way, chromosomes are in pairs, and there's 23 pairs of them, which is 46. For some reasons, and I think I know why, and I think you know why too, Masons have picked these two pillars, Jachin and Boaz, to represent the secret of Freemasonry. In fact, they'll say that, you know, Jachin and Boaz is where the Masons have hid their secret. What are they talking about? I believe they're talking about the chromosomes, the 46 of them, where the DNA is stored. See, the DNA is central to all of this. Mankind's DNA, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Literally, his DNA is who they're going to mingle it with, and that's why this number and this whole idea of a temple is so important. In the wilderness tabernacle, oh, I like this. You had, on the north side, you had 20 boards. On the south side, you had 20 boards. That was the supporting walls. And on the back side, you had 6 boards. Now, you had 2 on each corner to kind of clasp them together. But you got 20 here, and 6 on the back side. Now, on the front, you just had the 4 pillars. And I believe those represent the 4 base pairs, adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thiamine. Those 4 pillars there, they represent the 4 Gospels as well, because nobody gets into the most holy place without the gospel of Jesus Christ. I like this. But 20 boards on the north, 20 on the south, 6 on the back. Let's see. 20 plus 20 plus 6 is 46. God designed, even in the wilderness tabernacle, this whole idea of the chromosomes where man's DNA is stored. By the way, DNA is a book, and inside the temple here, inside the tabernacle, they would put the book, the law that God gave Moses inside of the 46 boards. I mean, I just think it's neat. It just seems like the devil knows all this stuff too. Okay, so here we have the Masonic House of the Temple Lodge in Washington, D.C. You probably can't count it from this picture, but it consists of 2 parts. A Greek temple, which you think about this, and a step pyramid on top. This says, Albert Pike, that the Greek temple represents the earth, the pyramid on top represents the heavens, and they're fused together. So you have 33 columns on this temple, and you have 13 steps in the pyramid. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to count that. 33 plus 13. 1, 2, 46. And this is it's a temple. Get it? It's a temple. What? Know you not that your body, 46th book, is the temple. They built the temple in Jesus' day, and Jesus said, destroy it. And they said, 46 years was this temple being made. Are you getting it? Are you getting it? So here's this day that just happens to make up a number 46. Does this have anything to do with the temple of mankind? Yeah, it does. Now, let's go back to some things, videos we put out in the past. Last January, we released a sort of a video answer to Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol. And we talked about the street layout of Washington, D.C. and all the occult symbolism in there. By the way, it's there and it's real. And I want to show you this one because I want you to think of the center point of what is Washington, D.C. and that is what they call the National Mall area. Here it is up on the screen. You have the Capitol building and you have that long yard that goes all the way down to the Lincoln Memorial. That is called the National Mall, and this is where they chose to have this big rally where almost 1 million people showed up. Okay? Did they just choose that because, you know, there's like a lot of room there? Hey, they could have had it out where there in New York where Woodstock concert was. I mean, they could have had it out there. No, they chose this particular place, I believe, for a reason. Because if you remember from the video, Capitol Secrets, I showed you that this National Mall area basically represented the Jewish Kabbalah tree of life called the Sephiroth. Now the Sephiroth, it has 22 connections, has 10 circles. That represents the 10 kings of the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation. And these lines that are intersecting one another and connecting these 10 kings, I want you to get this, these lines that are connecting them make 22. In other words, 22 paths. These 22 paths refer to the 22 amino acids that your DNA sequencing makes to make the letters and the genes that determine who you are. By the way, there's 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet that the book of God was written in. There is a connection here, and this is why the layout and all of these monuments in Washington, D.C. was designed exactly this way. Now, where Lincoln's memorial is in reference to this Sephiroth figure is circle number 10 there at the bottom. It's called Malkuth, or here it is, the kingdom. So I want you to get this so far. Here is Glenn Beck having this humongous meeting, and he's talking about America's divine destiny, and Glenn Beck is all about a kingdom. Sarah Palin is all about a kingdom. A new kingdom in the United States of America. And they just happen to have chose as the rallying point for this kingdom as the very spot in the Sephiroth that represents the kingdom. Are you saying Glenn Beck studied my stuff and came? No. I'm telling you, they're led by a spirit. They're led by a spirit. What spirit is that? It's the spirit that's uniting all the religions together. Not the spirit that is calling God's people out of Babylon. But Babylon herself, who is bringing all of these people together. Between Lincoln Memorial there and the next monument that you have over there is, of course, the 555-foot tall male organ called Washington's Monument. It is a phallic symbol. It is an obelisk which represents Baal's shaft or Baal's generative organ. 555 feet tall. That is 6,660 inches tall. Does that ring a bell to anybody? Revelation chapter 13 verse 18. We'll look at that verse here in just a little bit. But this whole thing with Baal's shaft and Washington's monument with this capstone, illuminated capstone and all this stuff, this whole thing represents the concept. Remember, we're going back to this. Hieros Gamos. Sacred marriage. The union of the god Osiris